We've finally made it to the home stretch. It's time for Doofy Doo's Shiren the Wanderer talk through episode 22. In this episode, we will begin talking about the final reason people play games. Oh no, cuteness overload. Look at that sleeping Chintala. When its mouth closes, it forms the W, which is the Japanese LOL. Ugh, I have to kill it. Something that cute cannot be allowed to live. I wonder what it was dreaming about. Probably murdering wanderers with a vicious headbutt to the face. Let's get to the last reason people play games. You might be thinking, Doofy, we've already got satisfying exploration, a sense of control, and a feeling of accomplishment. What's left? That's all I need in a game. Well, we are missing one huge component, and it is by far the most complicated one. Ironically, this last reason is the least important to me personally, at this point in my life at least. But objectively speaking, it is by far the most important reason people play games, and it's just getting more and more important as time goes on. And what is the final reason people play games? It is to satisfy their social needs. I know that's extremely vague, but that is a reason that people play games. You might see a lot of games like Flappy Bird, and you think, there's no satisfying exploration in that game. The control is actually pretty lousy, and whatever sense of accomplishment you get is clearly fleeting and meaningless. Why do people play it? Well, for social reasons. I'm gonna test out this staff on Tage the Drunk. I'm always abusing him for some reason. I think it's because he wants to steal my weasel. Alright, it's a knockback staff. I'm gonna get a new name for the knockback staff. I don't feel comfortable glorifying pimps. It needs to be a manly name, though. That should counterbalance the generally feminine characteristics of slapping people. I guess I could call it the dude slap staff. I don't know. It's kind of homoerotic, huh? Hey man, you want a dude slap? Yeah. Maybe the bro punch? Nah. I think PewDiePie probably has some kind of copyright on all phrases, including the term bro. What else? How about the man smack? Man smack. That sounds like a metal band. Hey dude, did you go to last Man Smack concert? Yeah man, it's totally metal. Alright, I'm gonna Man Smack Tage the Drunk. Uh-oh, he's coming after me. He is actually really, really strong. I mean, he can kill me in 2 hits. Ugh. Must be using, like, drunken fist boxing. Well, he's no match for my Dragon Fire. I am turning into, like, Patrick Bateman now. I seem to kill Tage the Drunk a lot. Must have some kind of deep-seated hatred of alcoholics. Even though the satisfaction of social needs is the least important reason that I play games personally, it's the most interesting to me because, as I said, it is the most important and most relevant for society today. And also, it's the biggest weakness of roguelikes. Roguelikes satisfy all the other 3 reasons people play games really, really well. But when it comes to the satisfaction of social needs, interaction with other people, roguelikes are actually fairly weak. There's not a lot of good ways to interact with other people in a typical roguelike. And roguelikes are kind of the it genre, at least among indie developers nowadays, because they don't require a lot of resources and manpower to develop, and you can get a lot of content. You don't have to worry about expensive cutscenes and voice acting and all the things that eat up a lot of money and time and resources. But until roguelikes solve the problem of giving people satisfying social feedback, of satisfying a lot of their needs to interact with other people, I really don't think the genre is going to take off in a big way among every gamer. I mean, there's always going to be a group of gamers that are really into roguelikes. But for roguelikes to really get a broad mainstream appeal, they're going to have to include some kind of social elements. And I don't know if that's going to take the form of multiplayer. I think it has to. Online multiplayer is almost a necessity. But it also has to take the form of some way of sharing stories in roguelikes. The PS4 made an important step in this direction when it allowed you to share gameplay videos. but there has to be some way of interacting because it's just too difficult to actually meet other roguelike players and share all the cool player-generated stories and content and adventures you have. You may have noticed that as I've gone through the reasons people play games, I've been moving from objective towards subjective. So almost every gamer is curious. That's a biological fact about human beings. And satisfying exploration is something that I would say everyone enjoys to a certain extent. But as we started to talk about a sense of control and a feeling of accomplishment, people's personal preference started to come into play a lot more. And now that we're talking about social needs, we are getting extremely, extremely subjective. The difficulty of satisfying social needs is that different people have different social needs. They have different priorities when it comes to interacting with others. And it's always dangerous to put people in categories, but in general, I'd say there are 4 main categories of people in gaming when it comes to social interaction. Alright, I need to find a certain NPC in order to advance a side plot that opens up the first bonus dungeon. And I wasn't able to find him, so I'm going back to Canyon Hamlet, and then I'll restart and that'll get us into another run, so hopefully he will show up this run. The best springboard for talking about the 4 different methods of social interaction in gaming is just to think about conversations you have with people in real life, and that includes internet conversations. It's useful to think about what the person you're communicating with wants. Why are they communicating with you? For the most part, when they communicate with you, people have one of 4 different goals. And if you pay attention, it's usually pretty easy to tell which one of these 4 modes a person is in when you're talking to them. The first goal people have when they interact socially is agreement or acceptance. They don't really care about the content of what they're saying. What they really want is agreement. They want you to agree. They want you to accept their position as being valid. And this goal is actually the least important for me. I really don't care if you agree with what I'm saying, and I don't really care to just blindly agree with what you're saying. This goal is fairly low priority for a lot of rational people, and I'm reasonably rational most of the time. And this can cause trouble when you interact with someone who's a little bit, oh, there he is, that's the guy I'm looking for, the mystery of wandering cook. He is giving me the most powerful staff in the game, but it has no charges. Remember, that's the staff I used in the puzzle to get the pumpkin muppet meat. It will turn any monster into meat, except of course the air devil, which reflects bolts. So the only way to get air devil meat is actually throw a Bufu staff at the air devil, if you can see it, or use an item that we haven't gotten yet. But yeah, because rational people place such a low emphasis on agreement and acceptance as a goal, it can cause trouble when they interact with people who are more in touch with their emotions or emotionally intelligent. Because a lot of times, someone who's emotional, they don't really care to argue with you or find the truth of the situation or analyze it. They just want you to accept what they're saying and agree with them. Stereotypically, it's the man who's rational and the woman who's emotional, but I actually know a lot of reverse scenarios where there's one woman I know who's extremely logical. She's a philosophy professor, very rational. She has a very passionate boyfriend. Hold on, wait a sec. Let me go ahead and give this mammal meat to the mystery chef. Ooh, roasted mammal tail. Delicious. It's a little chewy though, but yeah, it did make me stronger. And now we meet Naoki, the wandering chef. I really like in this game that a lot of the NPCs are creative. They have some kind of skill, like Gaibara, Naoki, the Smith's Apprentice. They really mesh well with the overall philosophy of the game that's more creative as opposed to consumerist. Anyway, getting back to agreement and acceptance, I remember an argument this philosophy professor had with her very emotional boyfriend. He came home from work complaining about something rude that a coworker had done. And all she wanted to do was explain to him the possible reasons why this person might have been rude to him. And it just made him more and more angry. He didn't want to hear an analysis of the actions of this coworker. All he wanted was someone to agree with him, to agree to say, yeah, you know, that guy's a jerk. He was super rude. You're right to be pissed off at him. And he just got more and more emotional because there was no emotion coming back from her side. And that's generally a process that most rational people go through with others. All they want to do is find the truth of the situation. They want to be objective. They want to analyze everything. But sometimes people don't want to do that. Sometimes their goal is agreement. It's acceptance. They just want you to say, yeah, you know, totally, man. She's a bitch. You're right. And that difference in goals sometimes causes some friction in the beginning of relationships. That leads nicely to the second goal people have. People who try to analyze and explain things, like myself, are generally interested in truth. Their goal is the objective truth when they're interacting with other people. They are exploring different possibilities. They're interested in the process. They're asking themselves why things happen a certain way. They're looking for patterns. For example, I love this game, Shiren the Wanderer, but some people would play this game and think, oh, you know, I like this game a lot, and leave it at that. But I'm making this talk through in large part because I'm curious. I want to know why I like this game. What is so appealing about this game to me? And that is in large part because my goal when interacting with other people is more often than not search for the truth. The third goal people have when they interact socially is one that you see a lot on internet message boards and comment threads, certainly on YouTube. Hey, Pex, what's going on? Just got thrown out of the bar, uh-oh. Oh my gosh, Pex got thrown out of the bar. Maybe he's just drunk. Sure, let's have a chat. Oh no. Somehow I feel this won't go well. What about that Russian girlfriend, man? What happened to her? That's not always a bad thing. What happened to my money, man? Blew it all on booze and cheap whores. Man, Pex, I told you dating a cursed girl was gonna be trouble. You just wouldn't listen. Do you know how many times I had to die and get reincarnated to get those guidons? I'm gonna man smack you. Oh, wow, I have a magical punch. I can punch the alcohol directly out of someone's blood. One more thing to tell that scientist if I ever meet him. Oh no, what are you doing, Bex? Are you swallowing my weasel? Sure thing, Bex. You can be adventurer number 3 in my merry band. A man smack! That man smack wasn't quite as powerful. Guess I'm not quite as angry. Pex actually starts out as the weakest companion. He constantly gets tired and asks for rice balls, and if you don't give him a rice ball, he will just sit down and not move, and he'll go on to the next floor and he'll just be gone forever. Hey, Mr. Apprentice, you wanna meet my lovable, financially irresponsible baby bro? Yeah. I know, he's pretty cool. I do respect that she wants to become a blacksmith. That's kind of cool. I honestly do like crafty girls. I think they're pretty awesome. Hey, Pex. Why didn't you date a nice girl like this? You had to go for that crazy Russian curse girl. I knew she was a Guyton digger the moment you started talking about her. Anyway, getting back to the third goal people have when they socially interact with others. The most common goal on the internet. And that goal is to win. People want to win at all costs. This is one of the things that depresses me the most about internet message boards and comment threads. People shy away from discussing the actual ideas. They don't care about the truth. All they want to do is sling ad hominems back and forth until they quote-unquote win the conversation, whatever that means. Hey, what's Pex curious about? Uh-huh. Ichi the Informed. What's going on, guys? What you talking about? This is actually a new cutscene for the remake. You can bungee jump off of that rope bridge in Janus Valley. And Pex is super interested in it. That is a lot of weight on a rope, Pex. Are you sure about this? Yeah, he seems pretty sure. So it is important eventually to take Pex to Janus Valley. It will unlock yet another bonus dungeon. Go check in with Gaibara. See if he has a new jaw to break for me. The vending jar is one of the most dangerous jars in Faye's final puzzle, and we'll find out about that later. Let me just say that when a Lilac hypnotizes you, sometimes it makes you throw an item that you have. And if you happen to be carrying a venting jar, you don't really want to throw that, as you can see. It's basically like a big landmine that you can throw. Look at Saotayama's face. I'm gonna check in on them again, see if they're still, yeah, they're still stunned. Hey guys, I think, are you still in shock? Maybe I should call an ambulance. Another reason the venting jar is dangerous is the stumble trap. Stumble trap plus venting jar is a bad thing. Speaking of venting, I think a lot of people whose goal is winning in a conversation are somehow venting their frustration from other areas in their life. And just a disclaimer, I do enjoy winning. No one likes to lose. But when that winning comes at the expense of the truth and exploration of new ideas, that victory is kind of hollow. Hey, this is Cutscene City today. Everybody's ganging up on Ketchy, which is probably a good thing. What, Ketchy? You are just pretending to be blind so you can stare at naked ladies? For shame, man, for shame. Oh no. If you see when the shopkeeper attacks, it actually says enjoy. His attack is an homage to the attack of Tornico from Dragon Warrior 4. He used to stumble and then attack the monsters, and that was like his most powerful physical attack. Alright, Ketchy, have you learned your lesson? Looks like I'm going to get the third and final human companion adventurer with me. But yeah, a lot of people, when they interact with others, they just want to win at all costs. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about agreeing with other people. They just want to win the conversation. They want the conversation to end and everyone to know that they are the winner, even if that makes no sense in the context of what's going on. And finally, there is a fourth common goal that people have when they interact socially, and that is just to have a platform to deliver their own perspective. In some sense, their goal is ignorance. They don't want to really have a conversation. They don't care what the other person is saying. All they want to do is deliver their little sound bites and hit their talking points, and their mission is accomplished. The classic example is the person on the first date that drones on and on about themselves without taking time to really absorb and react to what the other person is saying. It could be argued that that's what I'm doing with this talk through, but believe it or not, I am making an effort to respond and react to the feedback I receive. Alright, next episode we will get more in depth about the first goal in social interaction when it comes to gaming. I'll see you then. Today I walked outside the bar, when suddenly you flew out of the door. I asked you why they threw you out, and then I smelled the liquor on your clothes. And you stood back up so very slow. Then you told me that you had lost it all. My loan.
What about that Russian girlfriend, man? What happened to her?